settings I want to look at are the floor plan, the graphic override and the renovation filter settings. We'll look specifically in the floor plan here at reflected ceiling plans. So as an example here, if we look at this floor plan, if I switch my graphic override here to RCP for floor plans, and let's go ahead and look at what that setting is doing here. So I have a setting for furniture and cabinets for RCP. This particular view setting, RCP for floor plans, has a series of rules. That's to say that the zone fills are going to be transparent, and the furniture and cabinets are going to be have these overrides. Let's reserve this again, come back into those settings, manage rules. And then this particular rule, furniture and cabinets, are changing all of the fill types, that is drafting fills, cover fills, and cut fills, to use empty fill, pen 51 for foreground pen, and transparent for background pen. And that's any layer that starts with AI or AP. When we looked at those layer combinations and those layer groups, this is so that your plumbing fixtures, your cabinets, your casework doesn't mask out or overwhelm the ceiling appearance when those two things are laid over the top of each other. So what's going on here is that the layer that this is living on is set to the ArchiCAD layer. So incorrect layer assignment there is what is making that particular element malfunction. So if I go to my AP plumbing fixtures, now that layer or that element appears gray and with a transparent fill. So when this is laid over the top of my 3D document, scroll down here on the viewpoint types and go to first floor RCP. This is a 3D document of that space. And if I go, let's go and reserve and show the settings, this is going to show, if I set this up in the view map, to show this area, it will show floor plan projection display as a reflected ceiling plan, show up to, let's say, 3 stories above, and an offset of 30 feet. The cut plane height is 4 feet. And if I turn on, now typically this would be like the 3D document settings right here. So I'm showing trim and roof, but not the walls, showing ceiling, all of that stuff that would live above the current cut plane. So these walls are also on the ArchiCAD layer. Again, incorrect layer assignment here. So we'll call these, oh, wall exterior is locked, that's why. Okay, well, we'll just switch that to interior. So now this gets laid over the top of, or rather underneath, I guess, the floor plan. And I know that that toilet that's floating down here somewhere is not going to mask out that ceiling pattern that's showing as part of the underside of this roof element. So I'm showing columns, I'm showing beams, I'm showing the roofs and ceilings, and combining those two view types together. Now this would be showing with my RCP 3D document layer combination, or graphic override. So I'm not going to necessarily be overriding anything on the ceiling itself. Those are going to be using the default pens, fills, etc. for those elements. Another example of graphic overrides and how we use them is for presentation plans. So if I come into my layer combo and set this to APR floor plans, I'm going to get my floor slab back, and I can go into my presentation solid as my graphic override, and then my walls all show with a black poche. That graphic override is saying that my zone fills are transparent, my cut fills, the cut fills being the fills of the elements physically being cut through, are black, and my cover fills are going to be white. So it's really kind of a stripped down bare bones. And this might be subject to adjustment based on the exact needs of any particular project's presentation plan. Could be that we need to show cover fills to show maybe the differences in surface or texture for a presentation site plan. But that's fully adjustable and editable for various project needs. Now the renovation filter is very similar. Let's switch back to actually the floor plan so we can see what this is doing here. So we'll switch back to the graphic override for floor plans. The renovation filter settings are specific for remodels. They can technically be used for iterative studies, and there is a BIM manual article on that. But for the purposes of training here, I'm just going to demonstrate the standard function, which is to say that elements are either existing, demo, or new. For the non-remodel projects, we're setting to show all three of those statuses. We can show, hide, or override each of those statuses. So demolition plan, for example, is going to hide new elements and override demo elements. The important thing to note is that the demo settings, the overrides for demo are set. So if it's set to override in demo plan and in some other view setting, maybe we've got like after demo or something like that that's set to override as well, it's going to be the same override settings. Now those override settings piggyback off of the graphic override rules. Here in the graphic override rules dialog that I get to by my graphic overrides in the renovation filter, I can see that the only status or only criteria is that the element is existing, is demolished, is new. So demolished, for example, is going to override the line type to be dashed. The pen type is going to become one of our really light gray, 0.02 millimeter gray pens. The fills, the cut fills are all going to be empty fill. The fill types are all going to be pen 51 and transparent. So we're really downplaying the demo content for this particular renovation filter option. We can also override the surface. We can maintain the pen thickness, just override the color. In this case, we do want to downplay those demo elements, so we do want to override the pen color and, pen color only. So I guess we are maintaining the thickness. You can override the thickness and use that 0.02 millimeter. You can show or hide skin separator lines. Those are the lines between the composite layers. When we looked at what the core was, the layers that fit in between those skins, we're going to hide those. Hide model contours, that's a new one. But you can hide the contours of a site modeled by, by renovation filter now. There's additional settings here for existing, demolished, or annotation elements. So you can exclude annotation elements from the overrides so that if you have dimensions on a demolition status, for example, they don't show with the dashed line type. So if I show a demolition plan, and as an example, if I want to gut everything in between here, I can essentially split from here to here, and here to here, and change the status of these things. Oh, where's my renovation filter palette? Oh, up here at the top. Change those to demo. Now in the demolition plan, those show up as dashed. And notice that they're not even intersecting with the existing anymore. And this is why we don't have to have specific layers for different renovation projects, because this automatically negates that intersection. So we're not going to see those walls carving each other out. We don't have to have specific layer groups and things like that. Sometimes you do need a little bit of extra cleanup depending on where those junctions were at. But that's really all it takes to do a remodel project. You model the existing conditions, set everything to existing, and then start carving out and demolishing the model. And then when you go to model something new, if we look at this as new construction, you just switch the status to new, and then we can see, let's get a wall. You can see those new walls as their own unique element type. So those walls show up with their full fills because they're not being overridden.